Yo, what it do, YouTube? I'm going to give you guys three players. I think three Colts players. I'm sorry, three Colts players. I think that should step up next season. And when I say this, I don't mean that they have to improve or they were terrible last year. I just think when I say step up, I mean to have a big impact to go to where we want to be as a team. To like to reach the playoffs. So I think these three players should step up next year and give us that boost that we're going to need to be successful. Now, of course, you guys might think different and having another opinion on who I say, or you might think three other players may need to step up, and I'm fine with that. Let me know in the comment section below, but please wait until the end of the video. Also, leave a like. Let's go ahead and hop into the three players I think that needs to step up next season and I think could be a big impact when they do so. Number one, Marlon Mack. Now, when I mention Marlon Mack, this is no thing. I know he's coming off an injury, but hear me out. When I say him to step up next season, if Marlon Mack is any percentage of how good he was before he got hurt, and he steps up to the plate and he takes some of those snaps from Jonathan Taylor, I really think that will be a big thing for that offense. Of course, I was going to mention someone else. Maybe I'll mention him at the end of the video. But Marlon Mack, if he steps up and be anything of himself before he was hurt and really splits the carries with Jonathan Taylor and he's productive, I think that can take us a long way going into next season. Because let's be honest, we're going against a lot of good teams next year, and we're going to need to run the football and be effective. And I think running the football and being successful on running will really help us going into the long run next year. So I think Marlon Mack should be one of those guys to step up, and I think he can really carry a load and be successful if he happens to be any type of productive going into next season. Another person I think that has to step up and actually be really successful and productive is Darius Leonard. I love Darius Leonard. This is no knock on his game at all, but I think he took a little step back last year. Just to be honest, I think he took a little step back. And I think next year is going to be his year. I think he's going to go back to his normal self with the interceptions. Of course, he was a menace. He was a maniac last year. This is no knock on his production last year. He got the fumbles. He saved us a few games. I get that. But, there was some times when he was out there in previous years, he was out there catching interceptions, pick sixes, all them good things. But I think why I say he needs to step up is because, one, Anthony Walker Jr. is no longer on the roster. And that's another big piece of that Colts defense that we're going to miss. Bobby Okereke, he filled in his shoes last year, but he has bigger shoes to fill this year. He's filling in Anthony Walker Jr. And I think the leadership that Anthony Walker Jr. had is now gone. Darius Leonard is going to have to be that focal guy. He's going to have to be that vocal guy now. Calling the adjustments, all that good jazz. He's going to have to be what Anthony Walker Jr. is or was, and he's going to have to be himself as well. So that's a lot on his plate, and I say he has to step up. Darius Leonard is going to have to be that guy, and I know he can be that guy. He's shown us already. I know he can be that guy, so this is no knock on Darius Leonard. But yeah, he's definitely another guy I think that has to step up to the plate next season. And I know he can do that. Like I said, this is no knock on him because we love Darius Leonard. Another person I think that needs to step up next year is Rock Ya-Sin. Rock Ya-Sin has to be the guy to step up. Now, of course, most people might think that he might not win the role for cornerback 3. Understand that. But I think he can win that role. I think he's definitely an underrated piece on the roster. I think he has the potential to really be good. Of course, he has his ups and downs. But I've said this before. Most rookies, when they have a really good year, the next year they go through a slump. It's called a sophomore slump. I don't know if anyone knows about this, but most rookies, when their sophomore year goes through a slump, and that means they digress. So, it's kind of normal when a player is successful the first year and then the second year they take a little step back. But I think they can have a bounce back year the year after. And Rock Ya-Sin is one of those guys. Rock Ya-Sin, it takes a while for a cornerback to be really successful at their position because that's one of the toughest positions on the field. It really is. So I think Rocky Sin can become disciplined. Now I know some of you guys are not sold on him anymore. I understand that. Understand your opinion. Some of you guys want Marvel Tell to take his spot. I totally get that. Some of you guys want Isaiah Rodgers to see the field more. I understand. Trust me, I really do. But I think Rocky Sin, he's going in every game. He's going against some of the best talent out there on the field. And if you guys say that he's not, I'm not sure what to tell you. But I'm serious. Like, he really goes against some of the top receivers week in and week out. And he's put on the pedestal because that's what he has to guard. You're not going to be able to do that. This is a guy that's only 2 years in. He was only 2 years. And you're asking him to guard guys like Devontae Adams and more, and like Jarvis Landry that I can remember. He was guarding some top receivers. And he hasn't even been in the league for more than 4 years. So of course it's going to take a toll. Of course he's going to gamble. Of course he's going to get those costly flags, those pass interferences. He's not disciplined enough. So I expect something like that to happen for Rocky Sin. But I think he needs to step up. This has to be his season that he's going to be that guy. He knows what's at stake. He knows what's at stake. His spot is not guaranteed. It is next man up in Indy. You really think he wants to go out there and lose his spot to a guy that was redshirted last year, or Isaiah Rodgers, who was a special teams player? Of course not. So I think Rocky Sin's going to get in his Duffy next season and actually be productive. Now I'm not saying he probably will be, but I have a guarantee. Like, there's a promise. I can expect him to do that, man. I really do. Like, I have hopes for Rocky Sin, man. I don't like to knock any player, but I think he has the potential to be really good in the league, man. But those are my 3 players that I think should step up next season. Like I said, there's probably other players you guys are going to mention, and I'm totally with that. I think Marlon Mack would be a really good step-up guy next season and take some of those snaps from Jonathan Taylor, because they're going to be keyed in on him. So I think he'll definitely be that guy to step up and be productive. Darius Leonard and Rocky Sin. I was going to mention Carson Wentz of stepping up, because let's be honest, if we don't have any quarterback play next season, it's going to be a long year. So I was going to mention Carson Wentz, but I hope some of you guys do in the comment section. But I thought that would be too easy. So, I didn't do it. But you guys let me know your whole thoughts in the comment section of who needs to step up next season. I gave you my 3. I love you guys. Appreciate all the support. And this is Marcus. And until next time, you've been Culture Shock.